we are talking of a story which really concerns you and me, everyone who uses the internet these days, because netizens are leading a fight against telecom operators who are seeking more charges for over-the-top services. Now, TRAI at the moment is seeking public opinion on the issue on net neutrality, and as the chorus grows for the net neutrality in India, internet users have launched an online petition to save the internet. And in fact, what really does this mean for you and me? How really the government could be responding? We have Kiran Jonalgada, who's a co-founder of Husgeek.com. Remember, he's one of the founders of Save the Internet campaign. Also, Madhav will be telling us more about how really the government is looking at this bit of net neutrality. Kiran, to you first, how really you believe that perhaps what really is the real problem? Why is it that, common people who use the internet like you and me should be worried?
So we have had a history of making law in this country without consulting the public. The IT Act, for instance, which the Supreme Court just struck down Section 66A, should not have existed in the first place. One of the reasons why we have bad laws is we do not consult the public when we make a law, which is stunning for a democracy. And we are seeing this unfolding again with the telecom regulatory and allowing telecom companies to charge people whatever they feel like, essentially ripping off the public and without taking into consideration the public interest. So at this point it's a problem because if you use Skype to make a phone call, it's free. The telcos don't like this. Skype is free because they figured out how to make it really low cost for themselves. Telcos don't like it because they're not earning what they want, and therefore they want the right to prevent you from using Skype, or they want the right to charge you for using Skype. They want this with WhatsApp. If you use WhatsApp to send messages to your friends, it's free right now. If you pay for WhatsApp, it's only about $1 per year, which is about 50 rupees per year. But the telcos don't like it. Now, at this point, the telcos don't like it is a competitive issue. If the telcos don't like it, compete in the market, produce a better product. Do not say you will stop your users from using WhatsApp or you will charge them for using WhatsApp. And that is the issue at stake over here, that this is something that needs public opinion to also reflect in the lawmaking process.
Yes, Kiran, that's the real point, and perhaps that is why you've come out and launched this campaign. I'm just going to return back to you and ask you how really will you push this campaign up. Let's quickly get in a word also now from Madhav, who's tracking what really perhaps the government is mulling right now. Now, Madhav, it was just about last week that the Communications and the IT Minister, Ravi Shankar Prasad, had tweeted that internet is one of the finest creations of human mind. It belongs to the entire community, in fact, and not a few. Net neutrality. So is that the stand that the government really will be sticking to, Madhav?
Well, that's what it seems like at this point of time. The government certainly at whatever level does not want to be seen as tampering with the entire issue of net neutrality and the fact that there should be a level playing field as far as whatever the players are at all levels. Clearly, of course, the huge commercial implications about the fact that certain websites could be charged more in terms of the consumers accessing them, and of course, certain would be charged less. Clearly, of course, the government does not want to at any level ensure that this aspect of net neutrality is at any way compromised, but clearly we'll be getting a clearer sense of that perhaps through the course of the day. We haven't heard, apart from that tweet of the IT Minister, really what the government plans to do as far as this entire matter is concerned, and after the TRAI's consultations with the public, what exactly is going to take place on ground. So clearly we will really have to see whether the government will step into this entire matter. As of now, of course, it is the TRAI that is involved in consultations, but whether this is enough, and in fact the entire issue that has been raised by a number of activists over the past several days, and has been a huge debate has been raging online on this entire matter. Clearly, of course, it's for the government to now take a stand on this, and we'll clearly have to see what kind of intervention they will make, if at all.
Yes, and Madhav and Kiran, do stay on with us. It's important to, in fact, tell our viewers that over 1 lakh of these mails have already been sent to TRAI, talking about net neutrality. I'm just going to return to both of you in a bit, but this is a political reaction we are getting to hear from Rajiv Chandrasekhar on what really he believes is his stand on net neutrality.
Net neutrality is all about consumers, and the consumers of India must have unrestricted, free and fair access to the internet. It cannot be anybody's case, whether it's a large telecom operator or a small telecom operator, that they would want policies, regulations to, in some sense, throttle the access of the consumer to the internet. That is completely unacceptable. It goes against the whole concept of net neutrality and the principle. It's a founding principle of net neutrality. In India, why this is very important is we are going to increase the internet And the government has invested heavily in a Digital India campaign. It's about empowering millions of Indians to go on the line. Now, when you do that and when you allow operators to start controlling what consumers can read, experience, or use on the net, then we have a problem. And that is why I'm opposed to this consultation by the TRAI.
Now, the argument that comes forward from organizations like Internet.org is that in a country like India, Internet is expensive. That's the reason why a lot of people are unable to reach out to Internet or access Internet. And by making an Airtel zone or a Vodafone zone, they're giving out free services to the people. Do you buy that argument?
No, I don't buy it at all. I do not buy the argument of anybody playing Big Brother on the Internet. I do not accept the argument whether it's Internet.org or Airtel or Vodafone playing Big Brother. It is not for them to play Big Brother. It is for consumers to determine success or failure on the Internet, and a telco is only supposed to provide access. And that access should be free, fair, and non-discriminatory, not just to the consumers, but also to the people who are providing services online.
So Rajiv Chandrasekhar, they're putting out a very important question that isn't consumer the king? How can anyone behave like a big brother in this entire debate? Let's return back to Kiran and also to Madhav. Remember, Kiran has been spearheading the campaign about saving the internet and its neutrality. Kiran, you know, coming back to you, we already know that there are over 1 lakh mails which have already been sent to TRAI about, you know, why is net neutrality very important. Now, do tell us, you know, give us a little more sense about how really you believe that this campaign is picking up and why you believe that perhaps somewhere the kind of language that TRAI really has used gives us an inclination that it could be going the pro-teleco way.
All right. So if you look at the consultation paper, one of the terms used is something called over the top. What does over the top mean? I've never heard this term before. So it's something that is telecom lingo. As a layperson, it makes no sense whatsoever to me. And in fact, if you ask a lawyer, over the top means any service on the internet not provided by the telephone company, which basically means the entire internet. Now, this paper that TRAI has put out is about saying, does the entire internet need to be regulated? Essentially, if you translate it from OTT to what it actually means. To start with, that's preposterous. The internet is not for TRAI to regulate. The internet is a global public resource that's managed by a whole variety of individuals and companies. It is not something for a telecom regulator to decide that some parts of the internet are not good for a telephone company and therefore should be regulated. So it starts from there, and I think this kind of public sentiment is obviously now it's hit a fairly raw nerve, because 1 lakh was what we hit at about 2 a.m. in the morning. Right now it's 1.6 lakhs. 60,000 people have added to the campaign since this morning.
Yes.
So I think the scale of this is unprecedented. I do not believe TRAI has ever received so much feedback on any kind of public consultation.
Yes, Kiran, you know, that's a very significant point that you really raised, that it's over 1.6 lakh mails which have already gone to TRAI talking about net neutrality and why it should stay. Madhav, you know, coming back to you, we do not know still yet what the government really could be mulling on this. But the important point is we've heard the Prime Minister, Madhav, talking about Digital India, talking about how, and you know, he's someone who's really been so net friendly. He's been so social media friendly. He's been on the internet talking about how really we should use it, encouraging his ministers, encouraging his entire cabinet to be on the internet. Now, really, you know, it will add a lot of weight to this campaign if we get the Prime Minister there talking about it, but are we going to, you know, really expect that to happen?
Well, clearly, of course, as you rightly put it, this is a government that has invested hugely in building up a digital India, or really as far as putting a number of resources as it is online in terms of its services to the people. Clearly, of course, this is a very ironic situation that at such a time when the government is involved in that, we should be, in fact, talking about a very basic issue such as net neutrality. Of course, the huge response that the TRAI has received, we will have to see whether the TRAI will formally come out with any response as far as that is concerned. But as far as the government is concerned, by about late afternoon, we expect to hear some kind of stand in terms of what the government plans to do as far as this entire issue is concerned. And really, of course, given the fact that TRAI as regulator is involved with this entire process of consultation, whether in fact the government would advise TRAI in any particular way as far as this particular matter is concerned, because it concerns all consumers really of the internet in whatever form they may be using it. Clearly, of course, huge implications as far as the usage patterns are concerned. So clearly some kind of a response of the government expected by late afternoon today as well.
Yes, Madhav, before we wrap this entire discussion, let's return back to Kiran, the person who's been spearheading this entire campaign. In fact, Kiran just told us that there are 1.6 lakh mails already sent to TRAI. But, Kiran, you believe that the government really will be able to take a stand? Because, this is such an opaque field, isn't it? Because we do not yet have a clarity, and the telecom companies really have been, getting all the benefits of whatever we've seen in the past so many days also. Because we've heard, like Airtel really come out and talk about a zero internet plan. So you believe that the government has to quickly stand up and rein in the elements?
Absolutely, yes. Because this is a scale that the government has not seen before. Honestly, I'm surprised. This is not what I expected. When a few of us decided we had to do something about this and put up a website, we thought we'd be lucky if a few thousand people looked at it. We honestly did not expect more than 1 lakh people to look at it on a weekend. Now, I want to emphasize something else. This is not an automated process. We are not doing any kind of automated mailing on behalf of people. This is individuals emailing the government by themselves on their own computers. It's not just clicking a Facebook like button. It's not as simple as that. They're doing a fairly complex operation of saying they're going to send an email to the government with an explicit response.
All right, so Kiran, they're in fact telling us and urging perhaps all of us also to contribute to that huge campaign that is already underway. 1.6 emails already sent to TRAI on its consultation papers. For the moment, Kiran and Madhav, many thanks for getting us those details and the perspective, both from the government angle and also why this is very important. But remember, Times Now through the day will keep its focus on that big story.